All right. Do you want to start off like an intro for yourself, kind of thing?
Sure. My name is Ben, or I go by B Militant. Normally, I introduce myself as B Militant. That was my first YouTube channel that I made, and then after a while, um, since the beginning of last season for football, I made the Redskins review YouTube channel, and I've just been posting videos talking about the Redskins and trying to make a community for Redskins fans to come together and talk about the Redskins or just NFL general topics, week to week between Sunday to next Sunday. If you don't have anything to do or talk about and you want somewhere to go and talk about the Redskins or the NFL, I'm trying to build a community here of Redskins fans primarily and primarily talk about the Redskins on the channel. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Right on. Well, thank you for doing this interview. Definitely
No
appreciate
problem.
it. How long have you been a Redskins fan for?
I've been a Redskins fan as long as I can remember. I grew up and I watched football primarily because of my father. I played baseball and some other sports when I was young, but I never played football. But I got really into it later. It took me a while to learn the game of football or whatever because I used to have to be forced to watch football because my dad loved the Redskins that much. Um, but as soon as I got older and I figured out the rules of the game, it's my favorite game now. And the Redskins have always been my dad's favorite team. So I kind of just fell in his footsteps there. Um, he is a guy who he doesn't necessarily care if the Redskins win the Super Bowl. He just wants to beat Dallas twice a year, and that's really all he cares about is to be able to go into work in DC, where he works. I live in Baltimore myself. We live in Baltimore, but he goes to work every single day in DC, and he works with a bunch of. For some reason, there's Cowboy fans everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's Cowboys fans, and as long as we beat the Cowboys twice a year, that's all he cares about. And so yeah, I just came up in his footsteps, liking the Redskins.
That's great. And so you're touching on it a bit earlier. How you've what made you decide to get into YouTube? And you say you wanted to basically
um,
make a community of Redskins or NFL
yeah, it,
fans in
it it
general.
ultimately first it started. Um, I started doing YouTube back in 2008 when I was in the Marine Corps. I started
Oh,
uploading
thank you for your
videos.
service.
Yeah, no problem, man. I started uploading random videos I took with my phone, just things that I was seeing daily and stuff like that for YouTube. I started uploading them to YouTube. I just linked to YouTube to my phone, and then after that, I started getting into doing some like gaming videos and some tutorials and things like that, along with the military stuff on my channel over there on Be Militant. And then, like I said last year, before the season, after going through, everything I've learned from my first YouTube channel, I realized that uh, it'll be a lot. I could make a second channel and talk about the Redskins or anything else that I'm really passionate about, and keep it into like one um, topic, the Redskins, because on my other channel there, it's a really diverse channel. I have a bunch of random videos, so it's hard to keep a real viewer base going. So making a second channel talking about something I'm passionate about, I can turn a camera on and just talk about the Redskins 24/7. It just made sense.
And how's it been so far since this is your second season doing it and
Um,
everything?
it's great, man. Uh, like I said before on the channel, whenever you upload any type of video or something to the internet, there's going to be trolls or people who try to put you down or whatnot. But I got pretty thick skin, and I know that's going to happen. Uh, and basically, I tell them all the time, or I did last season when they kept showing up and kept showing up. It doesn't matter if you try to say negative stuff. I could do this and put these videos on YouTube, and I could just sit there and watch it myself and enjoy it. Even it makes it such a better process that there's a lot of Redskins fans that do like the channel and they do come week in and week out and make it better experience for me because they do like the content and they do comment and we converse about the Redskins, but make no mistake about it. I would be doing this just because I enjoy the process and I love talking about the Redskins. If I got 0 views, I would still be doing it.
So after we're at a 1-2 start right now, and we have currently on the schedule in the next upcoming order we have the Browns, Ravens, Eagles, Lions, and then Bengals in London. What do you see the Redskins record being at the bye?
It very well could be 6-2. Now that is as long we cannot sleep on the Browns this week. If we get some good momentum going from beating the Browns this week, and we find a run game, and we're just clicking on all cylinders, and our defense has a chance to show up and get get going. I think the Ravens. I'm really not too high on the Ravens, as everyone is. They are undefeated right now, but if you look at who they've played and how they beat them, their defense is not going to. No one's going to stop the Redskins. And then when you go further down the road, the Bengals are the only other team that I would be worried about. And we play them not in Cincinnati. We play them in London. So apparently there's a lot of Redskins fans in London. So who knows? We could take this game. Very well, we could be 6-2, but if you want to be realistic, I would say more 5-3. That's probably more of what would happen. But the way that we've been playing, we've been improving every single week. I don't see how people could say that there's not a possibility of us being 6-2.
I can see 6-2 as well. As 5-3, I don't think I see we losing to the Bengals, but the Eagles, just how impressive they've been. That defense has been just amazing. Because Chip Kelly's not there anymore. They're not on the field 90% of the time.
I think the defense, everyone is how well Carson Wentz is playing is a lot of people are. They didn't think it was going to happen, but I think the biggest surprise for that team is how well the defense is playing.
And what about the Lions' passing attack, this emergence of Marvin Jones Jr.?
The past few years, I really wasn't that high on the Lions, but this year, they are putting up numbers. Although they're not winning all their games, they are a threat. But I just think the Redskins can rally. I think they're better offensively, and I don't think the Lions' defense is that great. Our defense isn't that great right now, but I think we score more points than them.
Really? Yeah, I definitely agree. The Ravens, they haven't beat anybody. They've been the Jags, the Browns, and Bills, right?
The Bills, yes. I mean, the Bills, they've had a couple of good games this year, but they're just, they're on and off. They're not a consistent team, so. I really don't see that as being a huge feat as well. And I think the score of that game was like 13 or like it was a low scoring game. So who knows?
Yeah. All right, we'll go on to the next question here. So Kirk Cousins, the man, he is averaging 329 yards a game right now and is on pace for 5,274. Do you think he'll be the first NFC East quarterback to throw for over 5,000? Eli came close in 2011 or 2012. He had 4,900, but still hasn't been an NFC East quarterback to throw for over 5,000.
Although I think Kirk Cousins has it in him, he would be able to throw for 5,000. Redskins fans and the team do not want him to have to throw for 5,000 yards, so I'm going to say no. I think from this win that we just got, we learned that running the ball is really important to take pressure off of Kirk Cousins and set up, long passing plays. The plays that we had to Deshaun Jackson, the 30-yard and then the 45-yard touchdown, that was all set up because of the run. And now that we learned from last game that if we do not give up on the run, that sets up passing attacks and bootlegs and play action, things that Kirk excels at. So I think we're going to run the ball more. We're going to at least try to. I would hope so. And that kind of takes yardage away from Kirk Cousins. So I don't think he's going to hit 5,000.
I think he breaks his record from last year, the 4,100.
it's a possibility. Yeah, I would say it's a good possibility.
All right, bringing us next, the defense. It's
Mm-hmm.
been pretty atrocious. They failed to stop the run in the last 3 games. They couldn't do it all of last year either.
Yep.
Um, Basing on potential free agents for next year and also who's going to come out of the draft, or possibly out of the draft, who do you think could be great assets to the defensive line we pick up?
You know, I don't pay too much attention to college football, to be honest with you. So it would have to be, for me, I'd have to hear some names at the end of the season for me to then I start looking into who we could draft. And then another key thing is, do we sign Junior Gillette again or not? I personally, I would have to pass on him, but our GM is smart. He's built a lot of defenses. It's I see him building a defensive line soon. He spent a first round pick on offensive line
Mm-hmm.
before, so you have to think, and I've heard him say it multiple times, that he wants to build big. He wants to build in the trenches. He wants to get big guys, and he doesn't even want big guys in the trenches. He wants big guys in general. I've heard him say that even if you come and you beat the Redskins, he wants you to feel it the next day. He wants our guys to be bigger than you and hurt you more often than they get the better of us. So, um, you know, free agents, I'm really not sure who that could be. I know Junior Gillette is a guy that we were really high on, but if he's this injury prone, who knows, if we bring him back.
What if someone like Chandler Jones becomes available?
Um, it's gonna depend on money. We gave so much to Norman, and I really, really expect Kirk Cousins to come back next year. So that's gonna be more money. We gotta do something. And the the guys that we do have on our defensive line right now, the older guys, they're besides Baker, they're just not. Even pot roast last year, the older guys aren't showing up, so we need to draft. I think it's going to be through the draft primarily. Some younger guys.
Pretty evident during the game on Sunday that Josh Norman was able to get back inside Odell's head.
Mm-hmm.
So much so he lost a fight to a kicking net. Do you believe Norman should continue to tail the number one receiver on each team?
Normally I would say no because I believe in Rashad Breeland that much, but since he's out for a couple weeks, I say we're gonna have to. We probably will. Also, it comes down to defensive scheme. A lot of people, uh, you know, since Jay Gruden is the head coach of this team, a lot of people give him grief for our defensive woes. But if you look at good teams in history, head coaches ultimately they are in charge and they will get blamed just like a quarterback will get blamed. But good head coaches, they let their coordinators do what they do for a reason. That's why you brought this coordinator in, because you believe in him to get the job done. So it's up to Joe Barry. I really don't know. Before we started the season, he wanted Josh Norman to play the left side or the right side whichever way you look at it. He wanted him to stay on his side, and that makes sense because we're paying Josh Norman to be Josh Norman, and how he came to success was playing that one side of the field. Although he has the athletic ability to play anywhere on the field pretty much. Until Rashad Breeland comes back, I think he trails the number one receiver.
All right. So of there's 4 winless teams currently.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Browns, the Saints, the Bears, and the Jags. I really don't see the Browns winning this weekend. I just think Redskins offense is too much for them to handle. So the 4 head coaches, who do you think is the hot seat? The Browns, they have Hugh Jackson. Saints have Sean Payton. Bears have John Fox, and the Jags have Gus Bradley.
I would have to say the Bears and the Saints. The Jaguars, they've never really had success. So they're recently, so their head coach is kind of always under the hot seat. But Hugh Jackson just got to the Browns. Everyone understands it's going to take some turnaround. I think he's the only one who's kind of not in the hot seat, even though who knows, who they're going to beat this year. They're not going to go 0-16, but still, it doesn't look good for them. Their quarterback situation is not good. So you have to give him, the benefit of the doubt. But the Saints, for sure, their defense has been recordly terrible. So Sean Payton, how long has it been since the Saints have done something? He's definitely under the hot seat. I would have to say a lot of people probably wouldn't say that, but I've got to say that. And then the Bears as well, man. Yet again, it's just bad defense there, and not having a good quarterback play. Even though Jay Cutler has the ability, that's coaching. Jay Cutler has the ability to be a good quarterback. So it comes down to coaching there, I think. So.
Okay. So you would say Browns, Hugh Jackson safe.
Yep.
Saints and Bears definitely on hot seat.
And then Jaguars.
And Jags possibly.
Up in the air, yeah. Who knows?
All right. So of the undefeated teams, we have the Patriots, the Eagles, Canes, and Ravens and Broncos. Mm-hmm. Do you see losing last or even at all?
I think every team is going to lose this year. I don't see the Carolina Panthers happening right now. And I already said earlier, I'm not that high on the Ravens just because of who they played. Until they play someone formidable and then they do the same thing and keep their points low like they've been doing to these other teams, maybe they'll change my mind. But right now, I'm not looking high up on them at all. I think right now the best team is the Vikings, but I looked at their schedule and I also looked at the Denver Broncos schedule, and the Denver Broncos, they have one team that I think could beat them right now on their entire rest of the schedule, and that's the Patriots. So I'm going to have to go with the Broncos on this one. Although even if they have Simeon, who is a rookie quarterback, if they can run the ball well, if their defense plays how they've been playing, the only team I see on paper that even stacks up against them is the Patriots, and they play them week 11, I think it is. So they could go a while without losing.
And as far as that, vice versa Patriots, when do you think the Patriots lose? They have Brady comes back week 5 against none other than the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Or Browns.
I don't necessarily know their schedule, but just the fact that Tom Brady has to come back, there's going to be some, just like not like a rookie quarterback, playing, but he hasn't been out there with his guys. I think he's going to have some slumps, more so than the Denver's defense is going to have slumps. I think the Denver's defense is going to show up every single week. Tom Brady, who knows, he might start slow or something like that. So, I don't know.
And that leaves us with the Eagles, Mr. Wentz, and their undefeatedness right now. Do you think they get their first loss against us, or do you think it comes before then, week 4 or 5? Or no, they have their bye this week, so week 5.
The only way they're going to get their loss versus us is if Joe Barry learns how to blitz a rookie quarterback. We let Dak Prescott off the hook earlier when we played him. I think he's going to learn from that. I think our defense is going to be better. Carson Wentz has been playing lights out, and he looks like the real deal. But the thing about Carson Wentz is that he reminds me a little bit of RG3. The guy's playing with broken ribs, and he is running around.
He's taking a lot of hits.
He's taking a lot of hits. Who knows how long if he's even going to finish the season. That's why I cannot just bet. I'm not going to bet. I'm not a betting man, but I wouldn't put it on Wentz to make the full season. So that's obviously, who do they have after Wentz? If Wentz goes down, they're going to look like
Chase Daniel. Yeah.
Well, they're going to look like the Cowboys last year if Carson Wentz goes down. But with a better defense, obviously. So I don't see them. They're going to take a loss somewhere. Carson Wentz is going to fall back down to earth, just like Dak Prescott will soon. There's going to be now that there's tape, that's another thing, is that people haven't had the tape on Carson Wentz in the NFL or Dak Prescott. We're only short into the season. People are going to learn. People are going to figure out how to beat them. And then when they figure out how to beat Carson Wentz, he's going to go running for his life, and then he's going to take that one hit, and he'll be sidelined.
I hope it doesn't go like RG3 for him, just because he seems like more of a stand-up guy than RG3 was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't get that one hit and then he plays scared for the rest of his careur.
Yeah, I mean, he's
we'll take his hello Nada coming at your knee.
He's a much bigger guy than RG3 is. Width wise, RG3. He was like a track guy. He had a small frame and his legs were way skinnier. But Wentz, he's already hurt. You know what I mean? So who knows how long it's going to be.
Okay, so after defeating the 2-0 Giants, Kirk Cousins did what apparently he had never done before and beat a team with a winning record, regardless if it was only 2 games in. Is this another step in the process, or is this just an inevitability?
It's inevitable. It's actually both. People who are down on Kirk Cousins, they're just running out of things to say bad about him. Last year it was, he didn't play a team with a winning record, but we ended the Bills' playoff hopes. You think those guys weren't coming into FedEx Field trying to go to the playoffs? We beat them. We beat the Eagles, who we spoiled. The Eagles' playoff hopes in the past couple of years. You think they don't want to come in here and spoil ours and have a chance of going to the playoffs or whatnot? We play teams that are, these teams are trying to win, and whether they have a winning record or not, I don't think it really necessarily matters. But so yeah, it's a step in the process, and it's inevitable. Kirk Cousins is that good. Our team has the potential, especially offensively, to put up as many points as the Patriots or all these other teams who are putting up 30. Our offense has that capability. It's just whether our defense can hold up. So, Kirk has it in him. Our offense has it in him. They always have.
Yeah, I like how they like to use that argument of, he never beat a winning
It's
team.
on ESPN all the time, man.
Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith would say it all the time. My counter argument to that, look who the Panthers beat last year. Mm-hmm. They only beat, I think it was 3 or 4 teams that had winning records. The rest, they had 5 wins against their division, all of them losing records. They got to beat the AFC South probably weaker than the NFC East.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, the Saints defense,
which is another 4 wins right there.
The Saints defense was historically bad or something,
Saints defense was historically bad, so that's a total. That's 9 wins right there of their 15.
I think they didn't they lose to the Saints though? That was like the one game that they lost.
Falcons. Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons. That's what. Yeah, the Falcons. Okay.
Yeah, it was Falcons week 16.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So really, only like 2. I think only we had the winning record. And I want to say it was they beat Green Bay, who had the winning record.
Yeah. I've even seen
the Texans had the winning record. So
people
really,
have been bringing it up this season too.
Wins.
When we were 0-2, on ESPN, they still bring up that stat. Oh, Kirk has never beaten a team with a winning record. And then now, I mean, what else are they going to find? They're running out of stuff to say.
He's never beaten a team without a winning record. Again, he has. All right. So there's a lot of activity in free agency this week for us. We signed a few players to the practice squad. We picked up veteran center John Sullivan. What do you think? What do you think of those signings?
The Sullivan signing is the best one. According to a lot of other guys I've seen talk about it, the guy's getting up there in age, but he's probably an instant upgrade over Corey Lichtensteiger. As long as this guy's healthy, I don't think we would have brought him in if he's not healthy. But as long as he's healthy, he's an instant upgrade over Spencer Long because he knows the position. Spencer Long's like a guard who's transferring over to center. Mm-hmm. Although I liked Spencer Long better because he's a more bigger body than Corey Lichtensteiger was, and he can. Corey Lichtensteiger was just not doing so well. I mean, with penalties, and then he's a smaller guy for playing center. He got pushed back. That is one of the reasons why we didn't have a run game for the past few years. So uh, besides that, besides the Sullivan one, it's just kind of, it's not really that important in my eyes. It's not important until these guys get on the field, and then our general manager is pretty good at bringing some guys in though. So I wouldn't sleep on the guys that we brought up from the training squad and things like that, because the practice squad, because look at our season last year. Will Blackman coming in, playing, he coming in off the street and starting, not knowing our playbook or anything like that, and he just starts playing lights out for the most part, getting turnovers left and right. Our general manager, I trusted him. The only one bad thing I can say about Scott McClellan this year was that he didn't draft us a guy except for Matt Ioannidis, who I guess is going to be coming up. We'll see how he plays. But we needed defensive line help, and he knew it. Everybody knew it, and he didn't do too much. I guess he was, betting on Junior Gillette, and that didn't work out. We need a pass rush. We need some defensive line. That's our biggest priority right now.
So with injury to D'Angelo Hall, he had to be placed on IR again for the second time in 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
At the age he's at, do you think it's the last we've seen him in a Washington uniform, or also just a uniform in general? Do you think this is it for him?
I don't think it is, only because he's already said that he's going to come back. So I believe him. If he was hesitant to say something like that or something like that, then maybe I would think he's not going to come back. And this, honestly could be unfortunate for the Redskins, because if D'Angelo Hall comes back, how long is it going to take for him to get injured again? His play was decent this year. It wasn't extraordinary. He is, still learning the safety position. If he comes back, he's obviously going to play safety again. But I would hope that if he does come back, our coaches don't start him just because he is D'Angelo Hall. I hope if Duke Hinacho or someone, Will Blackman, outplays him in training camp and things like that, we don't just go throwing D'Angelo Hall out there again just because his time is limited. I hope that he sits behind guys who will give us a better chance to win, rather than starting D'Angelo Hall again just because who knows how much longer he's got. But I do believe he will come back. If the Redskins don't pick him back up or play him again, he might go to another team. He might. I think he has it in him. I think he does not want to. He's probably never going to admit that it's over, ever. It's just his drive.
On a personal, how heartbroken were you that Alfred Morris scored the winning touchdown against us?
I don't necessarily care about that it was Alfred Morris. What I care more about was that he walked, not even touched, walked in for a touchdown. That made me more upset than it was Alfred Morris. Sure, it's bad that he went to the Cowboys, and I think time will prove that Alfred Morris is a better back than Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott is not doing. He's not playing up to expectations. Everyone had him the best player in the draft. He has not shown anywhere near that. I actually think Alfred Morris is a better start for the Cowboys right now than Ezekiel Elliott. So thanks to them for not starting Alfred Morris and us having to see him more. I wish the best for that guy. Obviously, it's terrible he went to the Cowboys, but the guy's a class act. I'm more pissed that it seems like when teams are running the ball and they get the ball on like the 1 yard line or the 2 yard line, and we know they're going to run the ball into the end zone, it just seems like our defense and our defensive line just lets them walk right in. They're like, let's get off the field. We know they're going to get a touchdown. Let's just let them in. Alfred Morris walks in untouched. I'm more upset about that than it was him who scored that.
So speaking of red zone, there's been a lot of red zone problems for us this year so far. Do you think it's the play calling, the play of the players itself, or the coaching that's the issue?
the play calling has been. A lot of people have been talking about the play calling, all the fades. Um, why are we throwing fades to people who aren't Jordan Reed, who has proven that he can do it? We're throwing it to Josh Doxson,
Garcon.
yeah, or even Garcon. We're just the play calling hasn't been there. It's been on the players and the coaches. It's pretty much a little bit of everything, but we're gonna overcome it. Kirk Cousins was really good in the red zone before. We've been improving from week 1 to 2 to 3. We've looked better and better and better. It's going to come, but I think what has been stalling us right now is that Jordan Reed is Kirk Cousins' favorite target, and teams are waking up and they're taking him away, especially in the red zone. They're taking him away, which forcing the Kirk look elsewhere. Just like the pass that he forced into like triple coverage to Garcon in versus the Cowboys, it was Kirk just trying to give other guys the ball because it was just bad plays by him because he looks and he sees his first target, Jordan Reed's taken away, so he is scrambling to find somebody else. Jamison Crowder is going to come through. Someone else is going to come through. I'm not too worried about it. I think we're improving week to week, and Kirk Cousins has it in him. He's proven before he can do it. I'm not too worried about it as of right now.
So, for a couple years in a row, we have failed to stop the run. Why is that?
I mentioned part of it earlier. Besides Chris Baker, we've had just mediocre play on the defensive line. We've gotten some good play from some linebackers, but even Ryan Kerrigan just has not been the guy that we've known him to be. We've just been neglecting, the defensive line, and I think we're going to fix that because Scott McCloughan is smart and he wants to build the trenches, but he understands that it is an offensive league right now, scoring more points than the other team. He's been focusing on that a little bit too much, drafting Josh Doxson and taking offensive players over defensive line players recently, but we've got offensive power now, and we're going to for a while. I think he's going to flip the script in the next draft and go defensive line. He can't sit back 2 weeks in a row. And also getting Colin Jenkins, I think that's going to be a decent help. And also now that we have Josh Norman, I think people are going to respect our entire defense more. Normally it seems like runs up the middle is what we're having problems with. Runs to the outside, we seem to be okay. But linebacker play comes into it as well. Runs up the middle. Our middle linebacker, Will Compton. It's not just our defensive line. It's linebackers as well in the middle. Just have not been playing up to par. We've been juggling guys too. I mean, Perry Riley Jr. was supposed to be the guy, and look at him now. We didn't even sign him back. So it's not just defensive line. I'm sure that's what a lot of people look at right away. But our linebackers, Mason Foster another guy that came in from off the street, and he started for us. So that shows us what our play has been for middle linebacker and things like that for a while now. That a guy comes in off the street. Yes, it was because of injury he got to start, but he kept the job, and we got rid of our guy who was supposed to be our guy last year. So that just goes to show that there's a lot of discrepancies and problems, not just the defensive line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it also speaks volumes to this new regime there kind of thing, that just because you were the starter doesn't mean you get to be the starter.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it should be as well. Keenan Robinson was a guy that I loved. I thought Keenan Robinson was great. He was one of the best. He lacked some versus the run, which was obviously our biggest problem from last year and things like that, was versus the run. But he was one of the best cover linebackers in the NFL, I'd have to say, with his speed. He was really good versus the pass, and it sucks we got rid of him. And I don't care for him too much now with all the stuff he had to say about the Redskins. I'm glad he got laid out by Duke Iheanacho on the punt return last game. But even he wasn't safe. He got injured and he was out 2, maybe 3 games. And Mason Foster and some other guys come in. Will Compton comes in, and he doesn't get the chance to come back and be the starter. That's kind of a good mentality though, because we need people to step up. Whoever does step up deserves to play. That's why a lot of us YouTubers are against David Bruton Jr. right now. I think Duke Hinacho is a better, more aggressive starter than David Bruton Jr. Although Bruton Jr.'s best game was last game, so maybe he's coming around, which
maybe
we'll see. But
he had that pick that just
that exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Everyone saw, but the refs were like,
He seems to be coming around somewhat, but a lot of us still like Duke Hinacho better. So although we have been playing next man up and whoever deserves to play, it seems that way, but not when it comes to safety for some reason.
Mm-hmm. It seems they've had problems at safety ever since the untimely death of Sean Taylor.
Of course, yeah, man. If we had Sean Taylor, there's no doubt. If we had Sean Taylor and he stayed a Redskin, our defense would have been the Seattle Seahawks of the NFL for years to come. People would fear that defense. He would be Cam Chancellor times 2.
So there's someone who Cam Chancellor looked up to. He watches highlight videos of Taylor.
And hey, I mean, I can't lie. Although it's still early, number 36 flew through the air catching that ball to win us that game last game. That kind of reminded me of some flash plays of Sean Taylor, Stewart Ravens. He's still got a long way to go, and he's I keep hearing Jay Gruden say multiple times sometimes he's out of position and things like that. But the actual raw talent that you see that kid have, and he's around the ball, he's gonna be good for years to come.
Definitely, that's why he wears number 36 because of Taylor.
Yep, and after he learns linebacker, which he's a little undersized to play linebacker, he's gonna be he's gonna be our safety. Maybe not.
He's gonna be our
strong
safety. I think.
He's gonna be our safety in a few years, and I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. All right, last question.
Yep.
After a few games in, just seeing what you've seen so far, do you think the Redskins will repeat as NFC East champions?
Yeah. Before the season started, the season hasn't been going the way that most of us have thought. We didn't think we were going to lose to the Dallas Cowboys. It's a game we shouldn't have lost. But before the season, I thought 10-6. That was looking at the schedule. 10-6. I had the Dallas Cowboys as a win for us, and I also had maybe even, the Steelers on Monday night, the first game. I thought, why couldn't we beat them? But now we have to go back to the end of the schedule somewhere and find those wins. But I still think 10-6. I still think Carson Wentz, although he's playing, lights out right now, he's still a rookie. Dak Prescott, still a rookie. Like I said, teams are going to figure out how to stop them. The same reason how, we played the Steelers on Monday night, and people are figuring out Kirk Cousins. They dropped a bunch of guys into coverage because they weren't so worried about our run, and they said, "Hey, Kirk Cousins, try to beat us. Try to pass when we're in all these coverages, dropping." Only playing 3 down linemen, and we're going to drop everyone else into coverage because we're afraid of you throwing the ball. People are going to do the same thing soon. They're going to figure out Dak Prescott, and they're going to figure out Carson Wentz. I think both those teams are going to come back down to earth. And the Giants, Eli Manning, whether he keeps throwing interceptions to lose the game, I think their defense is more improved than I thought they were going to play so far. But I still think the Redskins, we have probably, I think, the best offense, the best offensive power. If our defense can come around and our defense can be who we were last year, who had the most fumbles in the NFL. Our defense wasn't that great last year, but we still made do because guys rallied to the ball, guys got turnovers. If our defense looks like our defense last year, definitely I think the Redskins can win with a 10-6 record. But also there might be a second team that gets out of the NFC East into the playoffs this year. So there might be a wild card. There might be 2 teams that go 10-6 or something, with the way that the Eagles are playing. Their defense is playing. But as of right now, as I went into this year saying, this is our division to lose. We have we're the only team with a coach who's coming in. It's not their first or second year or whatever. Jay Gruden, he's established and he knows what he wants to do. Other teams, although the Eagles coach he might get coach of the year the way that the Eagles are playing right now for his first year being with the Eagles. I think the Redskins know who we are. I think we have the best offensive wide receiver core. Although the Giants have Odell Beckham Jr., the Redskins have the deepest wide receiver core. Matt Jones can run the ball if we give it to him. I think it's still our division to lose. Someone else needs to step up and stay consistent through the entire year to beat us and win the crown. I still believe that. It's our division to lose right now.
All right, well, B. Militant, thank you for your time. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully, maybe we can talk again maybe after the bye. Be awesome. See how that's going.
Yes,
What'd you think of your interview here?
It was good, man. And I looked at the website and I like the Jamison Crowder what you just came out with. That's a really good article, man.
Thank you.
Just keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Again, its website is hailtotheredskins559.wordpress.com. If you can link it in the description of this video, it'd be great.
Of course.
And I will definitely link your YouTube channel to my article, and I will get it written up. If you like, I can send you a copy before I print it. It's up to you.
I'm sure you'll do okay. I'm not too worried of spinning my words like people did RG3 sort of, But yeah. Also, man, you got to hit up On the Warpath. He's a new YouTuber that does the Redskins stuff. He's just getting out there. I'm sure if you contact him, like you said, I know you're talking to Louis T and some other guys. There are other people out there. I'm sure they will do this with you, man. They're doing the same thing. They're looking for exposure. They're looking to just create more content. I'm sure On the Warpath for sure will probably be happy to talk to you sometime soon as well.
All right, yeah, On the Warpath, I'll definitely check him out. Mm-hmm. Louis T I've been in contact with a little over a few months now. I'm trying to work out time with him and everything. And yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks for your time, dude. I'm about to go check out this Thursday night football game, even though I'm not too interested in it. I'm gonna see what's going on.
Yeah, I got some stuff in DraftKings, so I gotta see.
All right, man. Nice talking to you. Peace.
Right. Hey, you too. Take care.